Hello YouTube, what is up? It's Shamrock here. So I didn't make a video yesterday, and I want to apologize for that. I was hanging out with some family, family comes first for me, so that's a little more important. But anyways, I wanted to start off this video and just kind of show you around so you guys can see what all I've done since the last video. I've kind of expanded out pretty decently. It really sucks that I'm kind of trapped in this little river here. And then not only that, then I have some mountains. So I'm really in a bad spot. It's kind of bad, but I'll make do with what I can get. So it would also seem that a lot of these guys around me have kind of realized that, really cramped in here. So honestly, I think a lot of them probably have quit by now. Because I haven't seen any of them grow in the past few days. It's really just been me expanding. So what I want to hit on today is a lot of infrastructure after the quests. And what I mean by that is how should you build your city after you've completed all the quests that give you resources back. And your goal should be to build your barracks as fast as possible. And the reason why you want to build your barracks is because the barracks provide additional troops to your gyros after they exceeding their level. So they could be level 12 and you have a level 1 barracks, they'll have 1,400 troops instead of 1,200 troops. And then so on as you upgrade your barracks. Your barracks can upgrade all up to level 20, which give you an additional, level 20 gives you an additional 5,000 troops to your gyros. So if you have like a level 15 gyro, that would be, 6,500 troops or something per gyro, which is pretty nice. But that's a little ways away, so we're not going to worry about that just yet. So how do you do it? How do you get to how do you get to build your barracks? So the goal is, I believe once you complete all the quests to give you resources, you're left with a government hall level either 4 or 5. So the first step is, once you build your government hall to level 5, you want to build your market. The reason why you want to build your market is because you can trade all your excess resources into the resources that you need. Namely, for me, it's probably going to be trading all my extra food in for stone, because I have 175,000 food and 31,000 stone. It's very crucial to get your market built as fast as possible. Once you have your market built, though, the next step is to get your government hall to level 6. Once your government hall is to level 6, then you need to get your storehouse up to level 15. The reason why it needs to be level 15 is because you can't build your government hall level 7 without the storehouse to level 15, because you won't have enough resource capacity to hold, 277,500 stone. Once you have your government hall to 7, build your barracks, and then you're jamming. You're good to go. You're ready to go, take some level 5s. So with that being said, we're going to talk about how to take a level 5. In Season 1, level 5s are a lot easier to take than Season 2. I'm just going to hit on how to take level 5s in Season 1, because I'm still fairly new to Season 2, and I don't feel like I'm an expert at it yet, so I don't want to give you guys any false information. But the goal to taking level 5s is making a very balanced team. And what I mean by that is you need to have a tank, you need to have a healer, and you need to have a supporter/control. So support/control meaning a gyro that can either put your troops into avoidance status, or they can put the other troops into some sort of chaos, confusion, silencing status. And my first troop here, it's Prometheus, Hecate, and Gia. So the reason why I went with these 3 in this particular order is Prometheus is a really strong tank. His main skill on its own, whenever it actually procs, which is 30%, it reduces the damage received from normal attacks and spirit attacks by this gyro and its armies by 35.3%. Effect lasts for 2 turns. So that's really, really helpful whenever it actually works. Which I don't mean that in a negative way. When I say when it works, when he actually is able to use the skill. So that just decreases the amount of damage he takes overall. and him being in the front spot, he's going to take a lot of that damage. And then Hecate, while she is a rare, meaning 3-star gyro, it's actually really easy to enhance your 3-star gyros all the way up to full enhancement, which means you take three Hecates and you enhance one Hecate with 3 additional stars, and this gives you 30 extra attribute points. And then you throw that in there. I usually, with Hecate, I really hit the Spirit, because her skill is a healing skill, recovers a certain amount of single allied gyro soldiers, recovery rate 72% affected by Spirit. So the higher her Spirit, the more she heals. Ideally, you want to get a better healer in there later on, or at least get Cure and put that on Prometheus. Cure on Prometheus is something that is kind of like a milestone in the game. Like once you get Cure, it's like you make it to that next level in the game. And Cure is a skill that can be dismantled from Oceanus, Braggy, and like Bloodweld, I think is their name or something. But yeah, Cure is a definite need to have skill early on. And then Gaia, she's a support gyro. After the battle starts, puts own army in avoidance status, granting immunity against... Yeah, sometimes the wording's a little weird. To immune the damages from the first attack. And for the first 4 turns, while enemy launches an attack or spirit attack, there is a 50% chance of decreasing the damage of the attack by 23.3% affected by spirit. So this skill affects the entire troop. So it's really good, helping your troops get that edge in the beginning of the fight and the first few turns of the fight. Other than that, I mean, this, once these guys get up to probably level 18 to 20, and I have the barracks built up to maybe level 5 or 6, I should be jamming pretty well on level 5 lands. And then as far as my other troops, I haven't really focused on building them up. I'm really just... Sorry about that, guys. Throat's kind of dry. I've just been focusing on leveling them up and training them and having them harvest to build up my stone. From here, you really just need to grind, take tiles, constantly be surveying your surroundings, dropping tiles you don't need, picking up level 4 tiles, and it's just a constant flip-flop of tiles, dropping low levels for high levels, and so on. So now that we've kind of hit a few of those points, I wanted to talk about now none of this is fact, or this is all my opinion. I wanted to talk about how to make a successful alliance. And I was thinking about, either making a separate video for this, or just kind of throwing it in one. But this video, the actual gameplay content and what I want to talk about was kind of short. So I figured I'd throw this in there with it. So how to make a successful alliance. So first off, it is nearly impossible to make a successful alliance if you do not make an alliance within the first 30 minutes to an hour that the server starts. And after that first hour or so, it gets less and less and less of a chance that you make a successful server. The reason that is said is because once everyone gets that quest, join an alliance, I was like, oh, I got to join an alliance. So what do? I mean, what would you do? I mean, for me, if I didn't plan on making my own alliance and I wanted to join an alliance, I would look for the alliance that has the most players in it. Reasoning, obvious reasons, right? Most defense, they'll get bonuses, they're ranked in the world. It's like, oh, cool, my alliance, they're ranked. So if you don't make an alliance within the first hour, maybe 2 hours, you'll be all right. If you don't make an alliance within those first 2 hours, you can almost be guaranteed you're not going to have a successful alliance that'll get to the end game to even take the possibility to take Delphi. So with that being said, first step, you need to make an alliance as soon as possible. Second step is start sending as many emails to everyone around you. Be like, hey, my name is such and such, dude. I've been playing Immortal Conquest for a few months or a few weeks, It's pretty cool. What do you think about it? So you start up a conversation with them. You get to know them. You start chatting with them. Become friendly with them. And be like, hey, man, do you want to join my alliance? And then you have some people like, yeah, that'd be cool. Others are like, I've got a friend who's making an alliance. I'm going to join them. Whichever. Do a lot of like on region chat. Be like, hey, join my alliance. Join my alliance. Hey, I'm looking for people to join my alliance. Start talking to people. Get to know them. It's really key to making a successful alliance is to get as many people recruited as fast as possible. If you've got a few buddies in real life that, like to play these games, tell them, hey, come play this game, come join my alliance. You need to build up your numbers as fast as possible because the faster you build your alliance, the more people who want to join you. Okay, so once you've built yourself a decent sized alliance, the goal is start recruiting people based on location. And what I mean by that is if you go here, the goal of the game is to start taking cities as soon as possible. For me, whenever I'm running an alliance, I'll click on the closest level 3 city to me, and I'll look. Well, obviously here there's already a bunch of people forwarded up, but what I'll do, I'll start searching around, and I'll be like, okay, Lucky Man is like 20 plots away from Ariadne. So I go to Lucky Man, I click on his name, and I'd start chatting with him. And I'd try to pull him into my alliance. And once I do that, then I move back to the big map. I go to the next level 3. Go to the next level 3. Search around, try to find a city. Once I find a city, Sir Staines. Click on him. Message him, be like, hey, bud, how you doing? Get to know him a little bit. And then ask him to join my alliance. That way, when it's time to when things start to heat up and other regions are starting to take cities, you don't have to worry about pathing and taking, hours to reach to a city. You can just be like, yo, dude, I've got people buy cities already. Just, hey, walk like 10 minutes down the road, drop a fort, everyone send to that city. It's really, it's too easy. And probably the most important thing you need to run a successful alliance is communication. You need to be able to have a really easy way to talk to people, send out mass mail. An alliance member who does not talk in your chat or is just very quiet is not a good alliance member because it's hard to communicate with them. It's hard to let them know what's going on. And overall, it just makes things a lot harder to plan and schedule different city sieges and whatnot. Also, you want if you're a chief in an alliance, you really want to focus on being very, in season 1, on server 9, I tried to be reserved. I mean, those of you who know me in game, I can be very reserved or I can be very over the top with things. And the real thing is just to know when you need to be those two different things, because there's times that stirring the pot is helpful, and there's times where shutting your mouth and not saying anything is also very helpful. But as a chief, you need to be very balanced with that. You don't want to be overbearing, but you don't want to let people think that you're just there and you're just kind of like, oh, I'm the chief. You still need to be able to kind of like put your foot down and be like, no, we're going to go to this city at this time because this makes sense. All right, what else was going on? As a chief, you need to, or even just like, even if you're a deputy chief, a commander, diplomacy is key. Usually I start in Attica. So what I'll do as a really good tactic is I'll go to the other side of the map, either to Ireland or Britain, and I'll find the top rank alliance. I'll message their leader, and I'll be like, hey, what's up, man? You're way over in Britain. How's things going over there? You guys are doing a pretty good job at running your alliance. And, we start talking. And then, I'll kind of bring him into the loop. And it's like, hey, man, so I was thinking, we could work together. We're on the opposite sides of the maps. We're not really going to be contesting each other for lands. You and me all the way to the end of Delphi. And, a lot of times, a lot of people, they're like, oh, yeah, I like that. That's a good idea. So what you do is the two of you guys work together. Back in Server 9, I actually wiped out pretty early on. We took down an alliance called Bloodlust. There was a lot of just, it was bad. Yeah. A lot of distrust going on. So one of my buddies, he was actually my chief in Server 8. He was the chief of an alliance in Britain. And I was like, hey man, let's work together. We can kind of, you go to Upper Egypt, I'll go to Lower Egypt. We'll kind of sandwich these guys out. And I think the war lasted all of about 2 days, and they quit. Some of their members joined us. Other their members kind of roved and left. Some went to different servers. And it's a really effective tactic to work with someone on the other side of the map to kind of sandwich in on your opponents, your enemies. It's really crucial. Also, don't try to start shit in world chat unless you are very confident that you can finish it. It's really helpful. Other than that, there isn't. For me, I found to run a successful alliance, you need to have a really strong-willed deputy chief that's not afraid to kind of tell you, hey, your decision that you're about to make or you're telling us doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and then gives you a good alternative that actually makes sense. And it's really good to have someone, I like to call it group thought with my deputy chief and my commanders. We kind of all get together and we're like, so this is our goal. How are we going to get at it? I'll throw something in. Someone else will throw something in, and then by the end of it, we're like, all right, let's stick with this plan. It's a really good idea, An alliance that is an alliance leader who's a dictator, you can get kind of far in the game, but in the end, it's kind of, people kind of tend not to like you. There's a lot of distrust. And then, honestly, I've noticed a lot of dictator chiefs, they kind of have a little bit of paranoia. So it's really easy to undermine them from the outside. On the other hand, a alliance that is ran 100% by democracy and votes from all the members just doesn't work. In a game of Conquest, you need to be able to make decisions on the spot, go, go, go. Something pops up, you need one person to be like, hey, send troops over there, we need to attack. You can't sit there and be like, well, such and such took my land, what should we do about it? And then the chief sends out a mass mail, and he's like, hey, I'm giving you guys 24 hours to respond. I need to let you guys know, should we go to war with this guy? Should we not? And by the time it's all said and done, everything's kind of been blown out of proportion. There's people fighting. There's just all sorts of nastiness on region chat. So I found it really helps to be more of an oligarchy, I guess. Maybe an oligarchy with a little bit of dictatorship. So as the chief, make it known that you have the final say, but definitely listen to what everyone else has to say. Specifically the people you've kind of put in charge, because a lot of times they have good ideas. So you listen to them, and don't be just be like, oh, my decision. If another player's got a good idea, be like, dude, that's a good idea. Let's go with that. With that being said, there really isn't a whole lot else to have a successful alliance. You just need to follow those few steps. They're not too bad. If you guys have any more questions about, gyros, infrastructure, anything, how to run an alliance, diplomacy, anything like that, I feel like I'm fairly knowledgeable. So if you have any questions, leave a comment in the comment section below. And yeah. So with that being said, I'll have hopefully another video out tomorrow or Wednesday. Hopefully by then I'll be taking level 5, so I can kind of give you guys an idea about that. But other than that, have fun. Enjoy some Immortal Conquest. See you guys later.